Chapter 50. Warble walks to the phone booth outside the Angels Camp Police Department, calls the local television news station, and tells them there is a robbery in progress outside the Angels Hotel. He then crosses the street, jaywalking as is his wont, and enters the employment office. He surveys the faces of the men and women in line there. Some seem relaxed enough, even happy-go-lucky. Some look embarrassed, others angry, yet others depressed. Warble selects the man who appears to his trained eye to be the most desperate, and approaches him. "Tough times, eh, mister?" Warble says, skipping the normal small talk about weather and such. The man reluctantly looks at him and grunts something in response. Warble moves a little closer to him. Too close, really, for the man's comfort. The man stands his ground, but tilts his head backwards a little. "Say, fella," Warble says, putting his hands in his pocket and turning to look out the window, "how would you like to earn a few bucks?" "What are you, some kind of wise guy?" The man responds, wary of Warble's intentions. "How do you mean that?" Warble asks, curious if the man has already somehow discerned Warble's great sagacity, or if he just has doubts about his sincerity. "What do you mean, how do I mean that?" "If you're up to some kind of funny business..." Warble interrupts him. "Do you think this is funny?" he asks, drawing a $20 bill from his pocket and surreptitiously showing it to the man. The stranger looks at the bill with a certain hunger in his eyes, yet he remains cautious. "All right, what's your game? You got some sheetrock you need stocked, some blast holes you need dug, what?" Warble waves his hand dismissively. No, nothing like that. Nothing that involved, complicated, time-consuming, and downright sweat-inducing. What I've got in mind will only take a minute." Before the man can ask any more questions or raise any objections, Warble continues. "Don't look now, but there's a lady over there at the Angels Hotel having breakfast, stuffing herself full of biscuits and orange juice. She's a British spy. She's here to infiltrate the area and force us all to switch from coffee to tea." At this news, the man's eyes bulge and his nostrils flare. He is outraged. It is obvious that he is now more than willing to hear Warble's proposal. Warble considers asking the man if he will do the job for $10 instead of the original offer of $20, but remembering how soon he will be rolling in dough and wanting to build up a reputation in the community as a big spender, rejects the thought. "All you need to do to earn this 20 spot is to mug her when she comes out of the restaurant," Warble tells the unemployed man. "You'll be doing your country a favor. You'll stop the infidel before it's too late. You might even end up on Nightline." "I'm your man," the stranger says, tugging gently on Warble's sleeve, leading him out of the employment office and onto Main Street. "What do you want me to do exactly?" "Just yank her hair a little bit and take her money," Warble says. "That'll be enough to put an end to her mission." "Okay, buddy, you've got it. I wouldn't even take the money normally, but my wife and kids are all down with the flu. The cotton won't grow and my bills get bigger each day. I'm busted, mister. I'm ashamed to say it, but I'm busted. So, although I know it's my patriotic duty to mug that dreadful spy lady, I've got to take the money." "Here, fork it over," he says, thrusting out his hand. "Not so fast, Mr. Down on his luck," Warble says, eyeing the stranger suspiciously. The man has a weak jaw and shifty eyes. Besides, he looks kind of desperate. Warble doesn't know whether to trust him or not. Warble holds up the $20 bill and rips it in half. He gives the stranger one half and shoves the other half back into his pocket. "In this case, the rules of mathematics are turned topsy-turvy," Warble says, explaining his strange actions. "Half of 20 is not 10, it's 0. You do your duty and I'll give you the other half." The man hesitates a moment, shrugs his shoulders, puts the half bill in his pocket and crosses the street. Unlike Warble, though, he walks up to the crosswalk next to the post office before he crosses. No jaywalker is he. Warble, oblivious to the good example set right before his eyes, jaywalks across the street again. He re-enters the hotel, rushes up to Mary, snatches the package, which she has left unattended on the seat while she looks at the paintings hanging on the wall around the hotel lobby, and tells her to wait for him and that he'll be down in just a minute. Warble bounds up the stairs, taking them not 2 but 3 at a time, and after fumbling for a few seconds with the key and lock, enters their room. Quick as a flash, Warble transforms himself into the color-blind chameleon by changing into his new outfit. Skin-tight teal running pants, a fuchsia t-shirt emblazoned with the likeness of a chameleon who slightly resembles Mark McGuire, high-top sneakers bedecked with red flashing lights, a chartreuse hat that resembles a mohawk, a long, curly, iridescent papier-mâché tail, and cheap sunglasses. Warble opens the hotel room door and peeks outside. No one is there. Good. He rushes halfway down the stairs, staying just out of Mary's line of vision, and yells out excitedly, "Mary! There's a sale on at the studio annex! They're selling pantyhose for $1/4 the pair!" That does the trick. Warble doesn't have to wait long. Mary yells out, "Thanks, Warble!" and rushes toward the door. Warble goes in the opposite direction, taking the stairs to the roof. As always, Warble has impeccable timing. As he opens the attic window and steps out onto the roof, the television van is arriving. Also, the hired mugger is approaching Mary. As Warble reaches the edge of the roof, Mary screams. The cameraman is a credit to his profession and is already filming the scene as it unfolds. Warble sits down on the roof, scoots over until he's just above the stranger, and pushes himself off the roof with his hands. While dropping the short distance through the air, Warble has only enough time to hope that if he misses the stranger, he will land on Mary, so that she breaks his fall. Alerted by Mary's scream, 2 officers emerge from the police station, each with a donut in his hand. One is chocolate and the other one is jelly-filled. The donuts, not the police officers. There are very few chocolate police officers in Angel's Camp. The peace officers are too late to intervene, though. Fortunately for both of the McGorkles, Warble has landed directly on the unemployed stranger. Warble subdues the man by wrapping him in a full Nelson. Warble then turns to face the camera and smiles. "Never fear, the colorblind chameleon is here," he bellows. The hero then returns his attention to the dangerous mugger. As Warble wrestles the stranger to the ground, he surreptitiously reaches into the man's pocket and extracts the half of the $20 bill he had given him earlier. The man, screaming in agony because Warble is grinding his kneecap into the sidewalk, doesn't notice that he has been pickpocketed. Mary's scream attracts not only the police, but also many shopkeepers, shoppers, shoplifters, and other tourists. When the crowd sees what has happened, they break into spontaneous applause for the mysterious masked man. After handing the would-be mugger and spy-catcher over to the police, Warble bows to the crowd. When he straightens up and turns back around to face the news crew prepared to be interviewed, Mary looks at him and, recognizing her husband, gasps. Warble sees that she is about to spoil the moment and quickly covers her mouth with his hand. "Oh, damsel in distress, it's obvious you are distraught. You must rest and recuperate. Don't try to speak. There's no need to thank me." Warble sweeps Mary off her feet, literally, and carries her back into the Angel's Hotel, laying her on her back on the long, cool wooden counter. Mary is, perhaps not surprisingly, furious. "Warble, it's you! You were behind this. I could have been—" "Shh, Mary, not now," Warble says. He leans close to her and whispers in her ear, "I'll explain it all later. Believe me, it's for your own good, if you know what I mean," he adds, raising his eyebrows up and down and rapidly rubbing his thumb and middle finger together. Mary sighs, exasperated, lays her head down on the countertop and stares up at the ceiling. "What next?" she mutters.